Hi guys, so it's me Nicolette, and today I want to talk a little bit about Black Friday, and really because it's coming up in the next 2 days, and really just try to get an essence of what Black Friday is and what it actually does to our people. Now I'm not going to go into the history of Black Friday. Why? Because it's really not our history. We are not the Thanksgiving type of people, but also most importantly, it came about as part of the financial crisis that happened a whole lot of years ago. So I'm not going to go into the history of Black Friday, but really I want to look at the behavior of people on things like Black Friday and things like sales times and whatever and all these things. Now, I always wanted to ask people the question of, do you actually believe in sales and discounts? And do you really think that retailers actually have the time or take the opportunity to make a loss in terms of the Black Friday prices that they actually put up? Now, you're probably asking yourself, does she actually mean? And I always say Black Friday for me is an illusion, basically. It's what retailers want you to believe is an actual fact when it really is not. And if you're going to go deep into looking at things like how much is the real cost of products, you will start to understand that Black Friday really does not mean anything. But the one thing I've realized about Black Friday, and actually somebody told me this, and once I started applying it in my head and started really thinking about it, I was like, this is actually very true. If you look at Black Friday is on the 25th of November. It's usually somewhere towards the end of November, 24th of November actually this year. It's like 1 week or a bit 2 weeks and a few days before November actually ends. And what really happens is that most of us South Africans or Africans, we like to spend during December, right? How funny is that Black Friday always falls on the week just before you either get your salary or just before, some people are actually paid by the week of Black Friday. But what it actually does is that it elongates the shopping time or shopping period. They call it the biggest shopping day of the year. And I say what it really does is that it starts to get people psychologically in the space of shopping and buying all the time. And that's what we really do during the festive season, is that most of us are just buying, which is crazy because some people actually put premium waivers. They freeze their installments for their cars, their home loans, retirement annuity pension funds. They will actually go to their banks or the companies which they hold these products with and say, please can you put a premium waiver or a freeze on my premium for November or December because I cannot pay it. But really because they're spending their money during this long and elongated buying period. And once people start getting into that spirit of buying, it's very difficult to pull yourself out of it. Hence why retailers understand this, because really Black Friday is about behavior and not even about the actual sales. Because let's look at something. A retailer, obviously, what they try to do is that they try to average out prices so that they do not make a loss. And they average out in a space of time. So for yourself, that dress that you are now getting at $3.99 where the original price was $7.99, really, do you really think that that is a discount or a sale? Because it really isn't. What is actually happening is that when they put out these prices of these products, originally, they overprice them. And then they work out to say, okay, we're going to have so many sales and so many discounts throughout the year. How do we then, and we're going to keep this product throughout the year, how then do we find ourselves to mean and average out so that we do not end up making a loss? Because there's no retailer that is going to be trying to make a loss. Retailers are in the business of making money and making a profit. So they're not your friends. And that's the thing that we need to understand, because sometimes we think when they do this Black Friday thing, oh my gosh, we all, they love us, they're trying to make things cheap. They're not trying to make things cheaper. They are definitely not trying to make things cheaper. As a matter of fact, the price that you see on Black Friday is not even the actual price. It's even more than the actual price of what they should be putting that product at. I mean, just think about restaurants and how they work when it comes to alcohol. You know for a fact you're paying almost 300% more for just a bottle of vodka, a bottle of champagne when you go to the bar or in a club. But when you go to the actual retailer and you're buying it from there, it's like 400 rand. But when you go to the club, they're telling you this bottle is now 2.8. You've literally bought it at such high prices. Then they will say to you, okay, on Black Friday, we're going to make every single vodka bottle 800 rand. And you're like, yay, that's such a great deal, let's buy it. But basically what you have done is that you have created yourself, you have fallen into the trap of what an illusion is. And that's the thing, is the best way for me to explain it is using a club, because literally that's what they do every single time. And every single time they drop the product, they claim, it's a sale or a discount. Oh my gosh, bottles are cheap now. bottles are not cheap. Bottles were cheap already in the shop. And even in the shop, they've already marked it up. Clubs don't create their own bottles. Club buy their alcohol either from a bottle store or from directly from the manufacturer. So already there is a very low and discounted price in which they buy the alcohol from. For them to come and mark it up 300, 400 times, and then when they claim it's a sale, they bring it down and still don't give you the alcohol at the same price as what they buy it at. So you need to understand that's the idea of Black Friday. It really, for me, it's just to elongate the spending period. You know, now that we're in it, we can't get out of it. So the entire festive season really starts in November, because once you start buying, you just carry on buying. And then the other thing that they do that really, really gets me upset is the mere fact that, you know, Black Friday just... You end up buying things you don't even budget for because it's cheaper. So you're going with the illusion that it is cheaper. It is not cheaper for you to buy a brand new TV at 2,000 Rand when you did not budget for a brand new TV, because you don't actually need it. And I always look at the history and I'm like, if in America, in the UK, in Australia, in Canada, sales have dropped when it comes to Black Friday, how is it possible that us Africans are still embracing this Black Friday day and we're still going out there and shopping and queuing, and we're like, yes, this is the best time of the year, you know, we get to buy things at cheaper. Sometimes you buy so many things that you don't even end up using them, and it's a waste. So a sale, I always say, sales are not good for everybody, because basically what sales actually mean is that you are buying, they're actually indoctrinating in your head, and they're teaching you and psychologically, what's the word that I'm trying to find, shaping your mind to think that you're getting a good deal when you really are actually not getting a good deal. So it's very important to look out for those things. The other thing that you need to look out for, especially for Black Friday, is inferior brands. They will sometimes sell you. The other thing that you need to look for is inferior brands. Sometimes these retailers will sell you inferior brands, and they'll only bring down the prices of inferior brands because they know they're trying to get and clean out that stock. It is not cheaper, because a cheap thing does not necessarily mean a good buy. And I'm going to do a video one of these days about being cheap not always being the good or the best option for you. So it's very important that you look out for those kind of scams. And then there are those scams, right, where you think you are buying a good thing, and like, for instance, things like services, things like online products, where you think you're buying them at Black Friday prices, and you don't actually read what the conditions are for buying, that you end up finding yourself having to pay the full purchase price because you didn't read small conditions, small little things like you gotta go on this holiday in the next couple of weeks, or you gotta do this in the next couple of days. So it's very important that you also look out for those kind of things, so that you don't find yourself trapped in this big woo-ha about Black Friday. And really, it is not our tradition, you know. So I always say, why do something that is not really African? I mean, Black Friday does not come from our history. As a matter of fact, Black Friday has a very, very dark history, but we are looking specifically on the, you know, retail side of Black Friday. I mean, they start advertising things like Christmas or the festive season, as a matter of fact, way before time. It's so abnormal. They found a way to commercialize, you know, the festive season and Christmas and all these Christian holidays. And it's very important that you're wary of some of the things that they put out there, because they might not be as good as you think. I always say, if a price looks too good to be true, it probably is. So be very careful about that. Mwah. I actually know I had signed off and said goodbye to you guys, but you know what? I actually have one last thought about Black Friday. If you really are going to be shopping during Black Friday, it is very important that you become very smart about it. So work it into your budget. Work it into your budget so that you don't find yourself buying things that you don't actually need, or things that you have not budgeted for. That is going to be very instrumental in so that you can actually create the value of a Black Friday if there are certain items that you really do want. And I always give the example of the perfume sale. I love the perfume sale. And granted, even if, yes, the prices have been dropped, but they're not actually the manufacturer's prices, or they're not dropped and it's still an illusion, I work the perfume sale into my budget, and every single year I try my best to send somebody, because I cannot queue. I'm so sorry. I don't like queues. And I say, okay, please buy these for me, because then I use those perfumes as gifts. Then it's worked out. Then I know I've got enough friends, and you know, I can give them gifts, because it's worked out into part of my yearly budget, which is why it's also very important for you to create a yearly budget, even if it's not as accurate as possible. But know that when are my closest friends' birthdays, so that they don't hit me by surprise. And someone's like, oh, it's my birthday next month and I'm like, oh wow, I don't actually have anything to buy you, or I don't have the money, I've already bought those gifts. So if you are looking for those kind of things, be very smart about Black Friday. Create a list. I always say create a list. If you create a list, you are doing absolutely amazing planning, and already there you have started doing very good. So be smart about Black Friday. Use it at your advantage. Beat the retailers at the same game that they think they're trying to beat you at, and work it into your life. Because, I mean, who doesn't want something a little bit cheaper, cheaper than what it would usually be on the shelf? So if it is 700 Rand and it's brought down to 300 Rand, and you knew you were going to be buying gifts for your friends anyway, you might as well buy it, and you might as well stock up on it, knowing that it will help ease off the pressure of your budget going into the next year, or when you will need this thing. Mwah!